Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of One Leeds Brownie. You've made me. Oh, I'm on edge. This has to be a quick one, everybody. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So yeah, some big news coming out for you from Brownie's end at some point. But anyway, let's get on to the Leeds United side of things. So Brownie, we've learned today, mate, that there could potentially be some of your favourites leaving the club. Liam Cooper, Luke Ayling, hallmarks of the good things that have been going on at Leeds United. What are your thoughts about that, mate? Do you think it's a mistake letting this experience go in January, or do you think it's enough for Leeds to cope with?
The Cooper one's a strange one because he's the one that's been coming in and playing when there's been an injury to Strike and Rodon. So obviously, Farker obviously fancies him ahead of Cresswell and anybody else that could slot in there like Ampadu. So he has actually been used. Ayling, I mean, he's got Jed Spence ahead of him, Archie Gray ahead of him, Shackleton's even played in front of him. So playing wise, it makes sense. Does the Ayling one?
Some move for him, by the way, isn't it? Bloody hell.
It is. I mean, we saw Sam Greenwood go up there, and he's done really well for them. And it strengthens a team that probably are going to be around the top six. But yeah, when players are getting towards the end of their careers, football, it's a short career. You need to play as long as you can. So if it works out for Ayling that he goes and gets football, because he's not getting any younger, I think it'd be good for him. But obviously, it is sad to see players move on who were part of that really good era that we all enjoyed. But all good teams move on. If we kept everybody we loved, we'd still be sat with Beckford and Beckier, wouldn't we? So players do move on, but not Bamford just yet, eh?
No, can't shake him off, can we? But
Hey,
his goal.
I remember being sat on a stream with you after, I think it was getting battered.
Is this where you tell me he's going to get 20 goals this season now?
No, it's not. It's just when we got beat by Sunderland and we got done by Stoke, and I said we had to change the way we play a little bit because we were a little bit too nice up at the top end of the pitch. We needed a bit of a battering ram, someone who could hold the ball. And I just, not the Bamford performance for me, but the Rutter one stood out like a sore thumb. He was so much better playing deeper. And that's all I was trying to portray when I said we needed a little different way of playing. Particularly away from home. I know we were at home when Bamford played, but he did hold the ball up. He did bring people into play. Is it a long-term thing? Probably not. Probably do still need another number 9, but that sort of player allowed Rutter the freedom just to get on the ball and drive. I mean, how Bakuna didn't get a booking in that game. He must have kicked Rutter in the air about 15 times, but Rutter just kept getting on the ball in pockets. I think if you'd have asked Rutter after the game, I think he'd have enjoyed that more, playing deeper as well.
Yeah, which signifies you're looking at maybe a bit of rotation when it comes to Perot and Bamford, doesn't it? Obviously, Bamford stretches the play, as a striker, as a 9, playing off the centre-back shoulders, ball coming in you between the centre-backs, you're giving them something to think of. Hey, Brownie, it's as easy as pie, isn't it? If you're playing with 2 number 10s, really, in Rutter and Perot in front of you, and nobody's running in behind, apart from Somerville, who's just running in behind on the full-backs. So maybe Bamford... Do I think he's good enough? No, but it's that style of player, in it.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely agree. And I don't think anybody'd begrudge if we brought in another number 9 like him, who's more consistently fit, which would allow Somerville, James, Rutter to be a bit more fluent. Because, yeah, at times it did work. We've smashed teams with Rutter and Perot, but there's been quite a few occasions where it hasn't worked, particularly away from home. I think there's 6 away games we've not scored in, 6 out of 13. That's a lot for a team going top 2, not scoring in nearly half of your away games. Is a significant number for a team going for automatic promotion. So, yeah, people can throw goals and assist contributions, but they can also throw back at them how many times it's not worked. But having said all that, Birmingham were poor. They were so bad.
Worst. I think I said they were. I mean, Wednesday were horrific, but there was glimmers of them going forward and actually putting together a few sequences. Jesus Christ, mate, that they looked League 2 standard. And if anything, mate, you're looking at it and thinking, that really, it should have been 8 or 9 from Leeds' perspective. It's almost pouring when it comes to us finishing our chances, really, wasn't it? Only 3.
Which again backs up how much more fluid we were with a proper number 9. We were creating a lot of good opportunities that we didn't take. There was a couple for Dan James, one for Somerville. Bamford hit the post. You are talking where it could have been 6 or 7 quite easily. But you can only beat what's in front of you, I guess. And there was a lot of talk before the game about, oh God, Darlow's injured, Melia's suspended, Classison's in net. You could have put the bloke who sold the programmes in net on at the weekend.
It did make me nervous when they had that one shot which was directly at him and somehow it hit the bottom of his hand and went the opposite way.
Yeah, and I mean, every team's going to get at least one opportunity in a game, but other than that, I can't recall a shot on target. Other than that, it was very convincing. Very convincing.
I'll tell you what, interesting little striker debate there. I know Ipswich have been going on about getting him, and I think there's a few clubs looking at him. You know, Jay Stansfield, who's up front for Brum, like the look of him. Really like the look. I mean, he didn't look that they were poor, but I didn't feel they were playing to his attributes whatsoever. And we're talking about like a little nippy number 9, you know. And I tell you what, it might not be a bad shout for Leeds United. That.
I'd stick with Bamford.
Didn't expect anything else, mate. But yes,
no, so other than Bamford, you've also got, I think, you've got Joe Perreault waiting in the wings as well, and but he has chipped in with a few goals of Stansfield for Birmingham, who haven't really been smashing the goals in themselves, but yeah, it'd be a surprising one. There are always surprising things happening, but Ipswich have been quick into the market already, haven't they? They've taken the winger on loan who's been on loan at West Brom from Brighton. That's been announced.
What's your thoughts on that? Have we got to be reactive to also what Leicester and Southampton and Ipswich are doing? Have we got to be reactive to that as well as being proactive in finding the players, you know?
I've said all along, I think Ipswich will be the one that slide as soon as the injuries and suspensions start to kick in. And you've seen straight away Hurst's out till nearly the end of the season, but they've been proactive and they've gone out and got someone else. So I don't think they'd have triggered into a signing if Hurst was still fit. I think it's more them having to do something rather than needing to do something right now. Whereas us, as much as we'd all like us to do something, we're not in desperate need at that end of the pitch. I mean, we're blessed with a lot up there at that end of the pitch right now. I think it's other areas that we'd probably struggle with. I know Firpo was in Team of the Week and chipped in with 2 assists.
Brownie, don't please.
No.
Don't.
But
please don't.
In 10 days he'll be injured again. So
yeah. I was saying it to Mel Man the other day. We were having a chat, and I just said to him, I was like, "Oh yeah, but Dad, you know, is Firpo, you know, because he's so bang average, but is he good for the championship because of the standard of the rest of the championship outside the top 4?" And he went, "Yeah, but the thing is, Connor, there's no point in even talking about him. There's no point because in 10 days he'll be injured again. There's no point."
Completely right. But this is obviously we had loads of chats in the off season about the quality of the championship, and it is poor. How many teams come to Ellen Road and you think, good God.
My eyes have been opened a lot. I think it was because I was basing it before the season started on what had happened before. You know, when we played any of the mid teams and we'd struggled, but we had
this season, mate. I've struggled against
but we had a lower quality team, didn't we? But you do look at some of the stuff. I mean, even the games we've drawn, the teams that have drawn against. I mean, Birmingham beat us, mate. That Birmingham side beat us.
Yeah, no, the team that we put out that day, I mean, that was probably our weakest team we'd put out since pre-Bielsa. It was pretty bleak, that team that got put out at Birmingham. But yeah, I mean, even teams that have come to, even Ipswich, we've scored 8 past Ipswich this season. 8. And they're sat second. So the quality of the champion, the step up to the Premier League is colossal. So if Firpo was fit, yeah, he is, but your dad's right. It's a pointless conversation because you just know he'll kick the coffee table or drop a TV remote on his foot or something. He'll be out for a month.
So do you think it's getting a little bit like that now with Byram? Because I'm getting a bit narked off, Brownie. I'm getting narked off with it all. It's just everything, and I know he can't help it, and I know
He
he's
he
more.
can't help it,
He
and
can't.
it's something that we knew, but that's why we got him for free. That's why it was a free
I know.
transfer, because people just wouldn't touch him. A consistent fit Byram plays in the Premier League, but he's just not consistently fit. He's been like at Norwich. He was like it with us before. You just can't get a run of games, and especially in the Championship when you're playing. I mean, look at Christmas. We played 23rd, was it? Boxing Day, 29th, New Year's Day. That's 4 games in about 9. You can't do that.
It's pointless, isn't it?
Even at the start of the season when we had made all them changes against Stoke, he had to come out because he couldn't play 2 games in a week.
Would you be looking at getting a couple of left backs then in Jan, or does it have to be one in Jan and one in summer?
I mean, we've been saying we've needed left backs since 250 BC. I mean, it's felt like we've needed a left back for a long, long time. We finally got Firpo, and then we didn't really see any of him. So I think as a full fan base, we'd all like to see a left back come in.
And quickly before we end, mate, 'cause I know you've got to go. Defenders wise, it's interesting, mate, 'cause we're coming towards a period now where Cooper's potentially leaving. We obviously know his contract's up. Ayling is probably going to go now. Cresswell, according to a couple of sources, said that he wants to go. He's sick of not playing any football and being 4th choice. And you're looking at Dallas, obviously he's probably not going to feature again for Leeds United. Firpo, injury prone. Then you look at Spence and Rodon, and they're both on loan. So you get into a period of time now, really, in the next 6 months with Leeds United, where you're looking almost at a complete real, not exodus as such, but a real turnaround in defenders at Leeds United. Do you think we need to, not only with fullbacks, but start looking at centre backs in this window as well?
Well, I remember having this chat with you on one of the debriefs last year. A lot of our big money signings have been at the top end of the pitch. We'd not really spent over 15, 16 million on a defender. All the players we brought in, so your likes of Koch, Llorente, Christiansen, they're all 12 to 15, 16 million, whereas Sinisterras, Rafinha's, all them, they were all big money.
Yeah.
And I know strikers win games and they cost more.
Top heavy, weren't
Yeah,
we?
I completely get that. But defensive-wise, we've not really. Well, I mean, we've got an embarrassment of riches up top, but defensively, we always seem to be putting square pegs in round holes, shuffling things around. But on that, players are due to leave, but we're also due a gluttony of them back, aren't we? Koch, Llorente, Christiansen. I can't see Cresswell and Cooper both going in the same transfer window. I just don't see that as a viable option.
If one had to go, taking your heart out of it, who would you let go?
Oh, Cooper, 100%. Cresswell's just got more longevity about him. England under 21 international. Cooper, he's got to be in his 30s now.
32.
Do you know what I mean? 32, there you go then. So you have to take Cresswell all day long for me. What about you, Cresswell?
Yeah, Cresswell. Yeah.
But yeah, defensively, I think that's the area where we need reinforcements. It does seem like we're constantly shuffling that back line around. I mean, Jed Spence is having to play left back. Year before last, he was in Team of the Year at right back, but we can't put him right back because we've got no left back. It just seems mental to me that we've potentially got the best right back in the league.
And hey, well, he could at the weekend. He could at the weekend, mate. Took him out, didn't he? But
he could. But yeah, then we've got a 17-year-old midfielder keeping the right back out of the team. It just seems, I don't know. It just seems square pegs round holes quite a bit, which maybe is why we've been a little bit inconsistent over the last month.
100%.
But
mate,
the points tally, what was it before we played Ipswich? 10?
Yep.
And it's now 7?
Yep.
So we've had a bad Christmas period, but we've closed the points gap a bit. But Southampton seem to be coming up strong as well. But look, just finally before we finish, Southampton's last 10 fixtures, they must have had a nice, pretty run recently because their last 10 fixtures look they've still got to go to Leicester. They've still got to go to Ipswich. And I mean, the final day of the season, when it's against us, that final day of the season could be very tasty. But yeah, they've had a nice run, but they've also got some tricky ones coming up themselves in the second part of the.
And also to add to that, mate, we've really ticked off some of our real tough away games now going into the second half of the season. We've got a lot of home games when it comes to playing those top
Oh,
teams.
absolutely. I mean, looking at just off the top of my head, we've been to Sunderland, we've been to West Brom, we've been to Ipswich, we've been to Leicester, we've been to Southampton, we've been to Hull. They're up there. Who else is? I think that's about it up in there. We've been to Blackburn. They're normally
West Brom.
floating around.
We said West Brom.
Yeah, West Brom. So all them teams in the top 7, 8, we've been to. Which when you say it out loud, that's difficult. Going to all them places and still being in and around the mix. I think Leicester are done. They can start planning for the Premier League. They're home and host, and I still believe that it'll be the 3 that came down that go back up. How, I don't know, but the quality amongst them all is just frightening.
I think if we see Ipswich drop into the playoffs, I think that'd be, if we were to also end up in the playoffs, that'd be a nice scenario rather that than Southampton, I think.
Oh, absolutely. You'd rather a one-off game against Ipswich than Southampton. It's just the spending power in January as well. I'd expect Leeds, Southampton to both do something as well.
Yeah, definitely. Right, guys, we'll leave it there. Mr. Brown has to head off, but thank you so much for being with us on this one. Yeah, as I say, make sure you follow Brownie on Twitter. Well worth it. Brownie_89. And we'll be back for another debrief very, very soon when it's all a little bit more jointed. Guys, have a good one. Cheers, Brownie, and we'll see you in a bit, guys.